Have you ever felt excited about a big dream only to watch it fade away after just a few weeks? Imagine this. A young man stands in the town square of a small seaside village. The wind blows strongly as his confident voice rises above the crowd. People stop, turn toward him, and applaud. In that moment, he feels as if he has already touched success. But as time passes, that dream quietly dies. What if speaking about your dreams too early is exactly what destroys them? What if the moment you share your plans, something inside you quietly shuts down? This is the story of Lucas, a man who always dreamed big and imagined a future filled with success, respect, and achievement. He saw himself becoming more than he was, reaching heights others admired. Yet again and again he failed, not because he lacked talent or opportunity, but because his words always came before his actions. Each promise stole a little of his drive. Each compliment replaced effort. That is, until a quiet Avren. Watch until the very end to see what truly changed Lucas. In the coastal town of Avaren, where wooden boats rest after long journeys at sea, lived a young man named Lucas. He was 27 years old, strong, energetic, and full of ambition. During the day, Lucas worked at his father's boat repair workshop. He hammered nails, painted hulls, and fixed cracks left by rough waves. But his mind was always somewhere else, longing for a life greater than this daily routine. One summer morning, with sunlight dancing across the surface of the ocean, Lucas stepped into the town square and made a bold announcement. His voice carried confidently through the salty air as he called out to everyone nearby, "My friends, I will build the largest shipyard in this entire region. Boats faster than the wind, stronger than stone itself. Avren will become famous far beyond these shores." People stopped what they were doing and turned to face him. An old fisherman nodded with approval. The tavern owner smiled warmly. "You have great ambition, Lucas," someone said. Soon applause rose around him, filling his chest with pride. Lucas spoke without stopping, his excitement pouring out with every word. He described grand designs sketched in his imagination, rare woods imported from distant lands, and a magnificent grand opening where the entire town would gather in celebration. He spoke of banners hanging in the wind and ships lined proudly along the docks. The more he talked, the more real it all felt, as if the dream had already come true in his mind, leaving him satisfied before the work had even begun. But the next morning, when Lucas woke up, a strange heaviness settled over him, as if the weight of his own words pressed down on his chest. The excitement from the day before had faded, replaced by quiet doubt. The thought of saving money from his modest wages, learning new techniques, and working longer hours at the workshop suddenly felt overwhelming and exhausting. "I'll start tomorrow," he whispered to himself, turning away from the light. But tomorrow became next week, and next week slipped into silence. Days passed without progress. The tools remained untouched. The plan stayed only in his head. Eventually, the questions stopped. No one asked about the shipyard anymore, and the dream slowly faded into something unspoken and unfinished. Not long after, Lucas found a new dream, one that felt just as exciting and full of promise. One cool autumn evening, inside the warm glow of the tavern, he stood up and made another confident announcement. "I will become a master nautical mapmaker. Wealthy merchants from distant ports will seek my work." Conversations stopped as people turned to him. Once again, praise filled the room. "You're so talented, Lucas," someone said with admiration. Laughter and approval followed. Surrounded by encouragement and smiling faces, Lucas felt energized once more, as if their words alone were enough to push him towards success. But alone with paper and ink, Lucas quickly discovered how different reality was from his imagination. His first crooked lines frustrated him, uneven and uncertain, nothing like the perfect maps he had described so confidently. Without applause in his ears or encouraging voices around him, his motivation slowly drained away. Doubt crept into his thoughts, whispering that the effort was not worth it. The desk grew cold and silent. Days passed without progress, and the blank maps were eventually left forgotten in the corner of the room, gathering dust and quiet disappointment. Year after year, Lucas repeated the same cycle without realizing how deeply it was shaping his life and quietly holding him back. A big dream would suddenly appear in his mind, bright, exciting, and full of promise. He would speak it aloud with confidence, paint it vividly with beautiful words, and quickly receive admiration and praise from those around him. For a brief moment, he felt accomplished, as if success were already his. But soon, the real work began to feel heavy, uncomfortable, and demanding. Doubt crept in, enthusiasm faded, and the dream was slowly abandoned, only to be replaced by another new idea. As time passed, shame quietly took root. Lucas watched his friends move forward, build skills, businesses, and families, while he remained stuck in the same place, surrounded by unfinished ideas and unfulfilled potential. One evening, as the sun sank low on the horizon, Lucas sat alone on the wooden pier, staring out at the darkening sea. Gentle waves tapped softly against the posts beneath his feet, matching the heaviness in his chest. Lost in thought, he asked himself, "Am I weak, or does fate simply not want me to succeed?" The question echoed painfully in his mind. At that moment, slow footsteps approached from behind. An old man emerged from the fading light. His name was Noah, a quiet shipbuilder who lived simply, spoke little, and worked with steady hands. Though he rarely drew attention to himself, everyone in the town respected him deeply for his wisdom, patience, and quiet strength. Noah sat beside Lucas without a word, his presence calm and steady. After a moment of silence, he spoke gently. "Why do your eyes look so heavy tonight?" The question opened a door Lucas had kept closed for years. He poured out his frustrations, his voice trembling as he spoke about broken dreams, lost motivation, and the shame of never finishing what he started. Noah did not interrupt or judge him. He simply listened in silence, allowing every word to settle. When Lucas finally stopped, the old man nodded slowly and said, "Come to the small garden behind my house tomorrow morning. I want to show you something." The next morning, a thin mist covered the ground, softening the world in pale gray silence. The air felt cool and still as Lucas arrived at Noah's small garden, surrounded by simple wooden fences and quiet morning birdsong. Dew clung to the leaves, and the earth smelled fresh and alive. Without saying much, Noah opened his wrinkled palm to reveal two identical seeds resting side by side, small and unremarkable at first glance. He placed one gently into Lucas's hand and said calmly, "Bury it in the soil." Lucas knelt down slowly, feeling the damp earth beneath his fingers. He pressed the seed into the ground and covered it carefully, unsure why such a simple act felt so important, or what lesson it was meant to teach him. Noah lifted the second seed high into the air so everyone could see it and called out to the nearby children who were playing in the garden. "Look," he said loudly, "this seed will grow into a great tree, strong and tall, bearing sweet fruit for many to enjoy." The children ran over, their faces lighting up with excitement. They cheered, laughed, and clapped their hands in delight. When the noise faded, Noah quietly placed the seed on a bare rock, fully exposed beneath the open sky. In the days that followed, Noah quietly watered the buried seed each morning. He spoke no words and made no announcements to anyone. There was no praise, no attention, and no audience watching. The garden remained calm and undisturbed. Beneath the surface, unseen roots slowly formed and strengthened. Then one morning, almost unnoticed, a small green sprout gently pushed its way through the soil, reaching silently toward the light. And the seed left on the bare rock, it had no soil to protect it and no place to take root. The harsh sun dried it out day by day, draining away its life. Strong winds swept across the open ground, rolling it from place to place. Birds pecked at it as it lay exposed. Before long, nothing remained. The seed disappeared completely, leaving no trace behind. Noah turned slowly toward Lucas and spoke in a calm, steady voice. "Dreams are like seeds," he said. "When you expose them too early, before they have taken root, praise tricks your mind into believing the work is already done. You feel rewarded without earning it. That false satisfaction steals your urgency, weakens your discipline, and quietly kills action." The words sank deep into Lucas's heart. He stood frozen in place, staring at the ground as understanding finally settled in, heavy and undeniable. That night, beneath a sky scattered with quiet stars, Lucas made a firm decision. For the first time in his life, he chose silence over announcements. He promised himself he would tell no one, not a single soul, about what he planned to do. No applause, no encouragement, no expectations. He deliberately chose a small, humble goal, something simple yet real, to build a fishing boat with his own hands. It was not a grand vision meant to impress others, but a challenge meant to test his discipline and patience. In that quiet moment, Lucas felt a new kind of determination take root, steady and sincere. Every evening after work, Lucas labored in silence, returning to his small workspace as the town slowly grew quiet and the lights faded one by one. There were no speeches, no promises, only the steady, honest sound of tools meeting wood. Mistakes were made and carefully corrected again and again without frustration turning into excuses. Fatigue settled deep into his arms and back, but he endured it without complaint. Some nights he felt frustrated, other nights deeply discouraged, yet he continued to show up. No one watched his progress. No one offered praise or criticism. Free from expectations pressing down on him, Lucas found a steady rhythm. In that quiet persistence, his skills slowly improved, and for the first time in his life, progress felt real and undeniable. Months later, after countless quiet evenings of effort, the boat was finally finished. Lucas stood back and studied it in silence. It was strong, balanced, and carefully crafted, floating steadily on the water without tilting or strain. Every joint held firm, every line served a purpose. As he watched it rest calmly on the surface, a deep feeling rose within him. For the first time in his life, Lucas felt true pride, not the fleeting pride of praise, but the solid satisfaction earned through patience, discipline, and honest work. From that moment on, Lucas continued working quietly, letting his actions replace the promises he once loved to make. One boat led naturally to another, each one slightly better than the last. He refined his technique, paid attention to small details, and learned from every mistake without drawing attention to himself. Neighbors began to notice the quality of his work, not through words, but through results. Fishermen spoke among themselves. Orders came without asking. His reputation grew slowly and naturally, carried by trust rather than noise. Without seeking recognition, Lucas became known as someone reliable, skilled, and consistent. For the first time, success followed him instead of being chased. Lucas married, built a home, and lived a grounded, meaningful life, shaped by quiet effort rather than empty words. The house he lived in was not born from grand announcements, but from steady hands and patient work, piece by piece. His days were simple, filled with purpose and consistency. He no longer felt the need to impress others with bold promises or dramatic plans. The urge to speak was replaced by the discipline to act. No more loud declarations echoed through the town square. Only real results remained, visible in his work, his relationships, and the calm confidence he carried within himself. His life became proof that steady progress made in silence leads to lasting fulfillment. In the end, Lucas finally understood a truth that had taken him years to learn. Dreams do not grow in noise or attention. They need silence, patience, and consistent effort to take root and become strong. When protected from early exposure, dreams gather strength quietly, away from praise and judgment. Lucas realized that words can feel powerful, but action is what truly shapes reality. From that moment on, he chose to let his work speak for him. He stopped explaining his plans and started living them. His actions became clearer, stronger, and more honest than any promise he could have made. In silence, he found focus. In effort, he found purpose. And through action, his dreams finally became real. Don't announce your plans before they have a chance to grow. Words may feel satisfying, but they often steal the energy meant for action. Instead of seeking approval, focus on the work itself. Finish what you start, even when no one is watching and progress feels slow. Work quietly, patiently, and with discipline, allowing effort to replace excuses. Let your days be filled with consistent action rather than explanations. In time, results will appear naturally. When success comes, it won't need an announcement. It will be visible, undeniable, and earned. Let your actions speak. Let your progress prove your commitment. And when the moment is right, let your success make the noise for you. Thank you for listening until the end. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to the channel to listen to more stories with me.